Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Specter's Desire. It's been a long time, I admit, but we're back. We're gonna play a little bit more of this. And yeah, I don't know what to expect. I'm gonna be honest. I forgot how to play the card game, but honestly, let's be real, I didn't know how to play it when they told me, so we'll be fine. Anyway, um, we're just gonna pick up right where we left off. We are playing as a character named Colton, and I think we're gonna get into some crazy shenanigans now. Frankly, I felt like I could lie in the middle of a random road for hours, just trying to process the insanity that had just occurred. Unfortunately, time doesn't just conveniently stop to let you freak out. It moves ever onwards. And so, another minute or two of panicked breaths, I got to my feet and started making my way back to my apartment. As I walked there, my mind kept playing the whole affair back. It was like it was analyzing a program to find out what bug had produced such disastrous results. It kept coming back to why I had accepted a stranger's ridiculous request. Why? I could have just kept walking. I should have just kept walking. Most would have just kept walking. So, why didn't I? Was it a sense of compassion? Maybe. Or maybe it was just weakness. Maybe I was unable to say no to someone I really should have. For a minute, I tried to convince myself that I had done a good thing. I had helped someone in need. I had gone out of my way to help someone desperate. That was good, right? No. Whatever. The whole situation was insane. That was not a no. You got roped into something really messed up and dangerous, I think, and I don't think it's over. The old man was now free of his debts. The old man who had abandoned me, likely fully aware of the consequences of such an action. Was that always his intention? Or did his original substitute player even exist? By the sounds of it, it did seem like someone signed something, but that gave me little assurance. It was possible he always intended to pass the buck to whatever fool was dumb enough to take up his offer. So, I cleaned up the mess of someone willing to sell me out to sharks. Well, not that I minded clearing his debts over Sir Chapman. Still, I couldn't exactly pretend like I had accomplished all that much good. Well, I had good intentions. I could be content with that. I had stewed on this all the way to my apartment. I was eager to just lie down on my bed. Which was why I was just as annoyed as I was nervous when I spotted Andy lurking in front of my apartment. Seriously? Hadn't I dealt enough with debtors for one day? Having spotted him, I jumped into a nearby alley. I risked peeking out to get a better look at him. He wasn't walking anywhere. He had headphones in and was taking a smoke. Smoking's bad for you. I don't like it. Don't do it. It's bad for you. Loitering around right in front of the entrance to my apartment, waiting for me. Shit. I really didn't have the bandwidth to deal with him right now. Time to employ an old trick. So, our character, Colton, is also in debt. So, why? I understand he's like, oh yeah, I wanted to be, it was a kind gesture, to do that thing for some random guy on the street. But my guy, it seems like you have your own things you need to worry more about. Carefully, I slunk around the long way to get to the back of the apartment complex. Now, careful. Here's hoping my downstairs neighbors weren't home. Is he breaking in to his downstairs neighbor's apartment to try to get, sneak in through there? Oh my god, he is. I jumped up their windowsill, climbing up as high as I could get. When I had gotten to a good position, I pushed up on my window. It was a little tricky from this angle, but with a bit of effort, I had my window halfway cracked. It was a gamble, leaving my window unlocked in this part of town, but it's not like you could tell my window was unlocked from the outside. My apartment was on the second floor, so it wasn't easy to test the window from the outside either, as evident by the struggle it took to get up there. Ultimately, I figured if someone wanted to break into my apartment, the back window lock wasn't the thing that was going to stop them. With a final burst of effort, I practically fell into my room. My guy. Is this your room? My guy. Okay. Maybe do a little bit of organizing. Maybe. I understand that with apartments it's hard. There's not a lot of space, but no, I don't know. Oh. It's and there's look at the wall. There's nothing on the wall. Ugh. Ugh. Then I just lay on the floor. It was becoming something of a habit. Ugh, what was that stain on the ceiling? Red isn't a good color for a stain, I'll tell you that. You have a red stain on your ceiling? Shouldn't you call the landlord or something? Maybe it's the person in the apartment above you is dead. Might be worth checking on my upstairs neighbor. Yeah. And again, maybe the moral of that whole saga was to not get involved in other people's crap. After a bit more brooding, I eventually worked up the energy to stand up. There we are. Looking around my cramped apartment, I realized how stressingly similar it was to the kitchen in that abandoned building. Maybe that was the problem. I mean, it's not like I could afford a better place to stay. Especially not with Aurea's heart. Oh, who? What? Aurea's house pricing. But at the very least, I could stand to spruce the place up a little. Yeah, you could. I was never much of an interior decorator, but almost anything would be better than the hovel I currently lived in. Bed unmade, pile of dirty clothes on the floor, a trash bin stuffed to the brim. Oh my gosh. You gotta just, when you get out of the bed, just make it. It'll make you feel so much better, I promise. Admittedly, a certain degree of this was just bad hygiene on my part. As I looked around the room that I usually tried not to focus on, my eyes fixated on the fish tank sitting on my cabinet. This thing. Why had my parents thought it was a good idea to get me a fish? What remotely prompted that line of thinking? I didn't want you to get lonely, my mom said. I had to bite my tongue to stop myself from replying that having a fish would make me feel 5 times more lonely. Honestly, my meeting with my parents had been a disappointing affair as a whole. They got to see up close just how much they were right, all while pretending they were happy for me. Sometimes I kind of wish they dropped the supportive act. I mean, I guess it was good they weren't vocally against my dreams of becoming some big shot Aurea director type. But it was clear they thought it was a stupid idea. Given where I was, it was hard to argue with them. Undoubtedly, staying back in Junk Fork, going to college, getting a respectable job, would have been the better plan. It was hard to see a single way in which this stupid, self-imposed climb of a path I had chosen for myself was superior to their suggestions. So he wants to be like, I'm guessing, a film director? Excuse me. But I had made my bed, and by God, I was going to lie in it. Which meant, even if it wasn't working out at all, I had to lie with a straight face and say it was going well. And I had to take this stupid fish. I flicked on the fish tank to see if it would react. It didn't. It just stared at me with its dead eyes. Oh, no. It's a fish. It's still a fish. He's your pet. You have to give it a name. Oh, what to do with you? Well, if I'm not getting rid of it, I really should name it. That's what I just said. I'd been meaning to name it for a while, but I hadn't come up with anything good. Well, it's not like I'm naming a baby. I should just choose something. Let's see. Oh, I can name the fish. Okay, what kind of fish is it though? That makes a big difference. Is it a goldfish? Is it a betta fish? What kind of fish? um, let's see. What should we name the fish? Let's name the fish. I want to name him Blubby. Blubby. Well, Blubby, huh? You like that, Blubby? The fish just blubbed at me. Blubby blubbed. Unblinking. Well, I guess I'll take that as a yes. I'm sticking with Blubby. I had a fish when I was a kid. We actually, it was one of those fish that we won at like a fair, a goldfish, and we took it home, and that thing lived forever. And it drove our cat bananas. Like I didn't expect it to live for so many years, but it did. And that was that settled. I had given Blubby its name, so I did at least one productive thing today. What else? I walked over to my desk and opened up my laptop. I was, for once, ahead of schedule, so I didn't have much editing work to do. I noticed my email tab had a suspiciously high number. I should really check those out, huh? At this point, nothing there could be worse than expected. Well, there could be good news. And I'm doing nothing. So I should just click on it. My mouse hovered over the tab. Listen, I get that. I get the email anxiety. I understand. But as I moved to click on it, I felt a violent sickness in my stomach. Just as quickly as I had hovered over the tab, I moved back to the tab I was on. There probably wasn't anything that urgent. I could just check it tomorrow. I had enough stress for today. I deserved to relax for a bit, deal with whatever those emails entailed later. In fact, I should watch a new movie. Have myself my own movie night. Obviously, going to the theaters would be better. Cinema is meant to be enjoyed on a large screen, to be properly appreciated. All the same, the crushing realities of my economic situation clashed with the artistic idealist in me. And once again, reality won. Movie tickets were a luxury I couldn't afford. Not when I could watch pretty much any movie for free, depending on which site I checked. So, what movie to pick?
I'm sorry. Is there a point to this?
I'm sorry? Wait, what? Wait, hello? Carolyn? Huh?
Why am I listening to what movie you're going to pirate?
Who are you? Where am I?
Like, is this going to wrap back around to the debt thing, or...?
What? No, that's just what happened next. Am I telling a story?
So, why are you telling me this?
I don't know. The story didn't have a natural stopping point, and you weren't cutting me off, so I just decided to keep going.
This is embarrassing.
What are you talking about? It didn't have a natural stopping point. You literally ran out of the building and fell to the ground. There couldn't be a more perfect stopping point. It lacks an epilogue. I'm so confused. What's happening? So you thought you'd just tell me about your daily routine? I don't know, I'm your friend. I thought you might be interested. Or what, are you now too fancy to be interested in the plights of poverty? I'm just saying. If you want to be a storyteller, you've got some work to do. Also, epilogues are overrated. Just stop after the climax. Don't drag it out. Can't exactly argue with you there. It was a few days later, and I was relaying the crazy story to my friend Carolyn. I didn't get a lot of crazy stories in my life, so I was sure to make good on them whenever they popped up. After having heard my story, Carolyn just sighed and shook her head. Jeez, what a mess. You know, I'm not surprised you got yourself into that sort of thing. That story reeks of Colton Hall. It's got your stink all over it. Okay, ouch. No need to call it a stink. That's the description it deserves. Come on. You don't think there was anything to be admired about it? Like my bravery in the face of danger? My intelligence for getting out of there? The way you described it, you didn't sound that brave. And if you're smart enough to get out of the building, you're twice as stupid for getting tricked into it. Okay, she's not wrong, let's be real. Also, I was not very smart in that building. I had no words to argue with her. You know what your problem is? You're too passive. You let people push you around too much.
Yes.
You're right. I always agree with what people tell me. Yeah, it's a Oh, very funny. I didn't think it was that bad. I'm not joking, you know. If you had just told the old dude to piss off, none of that would have happened. Yeah, well, maybe I'm glad I didn't do that. Maybe it's good to have some compassion. You know what city you're in, right? The only worthwhile compassion in Aurea is the type done in front of a camera. You don't mean that. I'm just saying, you need to grow more of a backbone. If I were you, as soon as I realized what was happening in the building, I would have shoved that old man to the floor and ran away. Yeah, well, you're different than me. You're right. I've actually done something to follow my dreams. Oof, ouch. Tell me, when are you getting around to making that film you're always blabbering about?
Is that right?
It's not that simple. Making a film's really complicated. It requires a lot of money, a lot of time. Nonsense. It's not the 80s. It's never been easier to just take out a phone and start filming. People on the internet do it all the time. People on the internet make a lot of crappy films. Colton, your first major film's not going to be a full-fledged production. That's an insane pipe dream, even for you. You'll probably suck at first, so just suck on a smaller scale. I mean, she's not wrong. Really, I mean, honestly though, right? She's not wrong. You could do like some short films. Look, Carolyn, I appreciate words of advice, I really do. But I've got it handled. I've got a system. I just need a couple more months of savings from my editing gigs and I can start working on my own projects. A couple more months? A year or two, maybe. Don't you have debts? You're getting bogged down in details. Hey, I'm not the one that has to edit my crappy ViewScope channels for the next 4 years. I don't mind being a ViewScope editor. I mean, sure, the clients are usually entitled or frustrating or uncommunicative. So I'm guessing ViewScope is like YouTube. I'm guessing he's like a freelance video editor right now. And sure, the pay's pretty bad, especially considering the hours I crunch. But you gotta look at the glass half full. I'm pretty much my own boss. Go on strike then. You know, I'm not surprised a successful business owner like yourself wouldn't understand the plights of a gig worker. You want a job? I'm not above favoritism. Come on now, we both know I don't know the first thing about hair or makeup or whatever. That's true. As it happened, I was currently having coffee with Carolyn Payton, the owner of one of Aurea's most successful hair and makeup artist studios. She started as a solo practitioner for low-grade productions, but her customer service was so good that word spread among actors and producers. Soon enough, she started working with real plays and musicals, growing a moderate amount of notoriety in certain circles. When she amassed enough capital, she started hiring more workers. Next thing you knew, she was a full-fledged business owner. I could be jealous that she had her parents' income to support her as she found her footing, but honestly, I was just happy to have her as a connection. Truth is, we knew each other back from June Fork. We even went to the same high school. It'd be a lie to say we were friends at the time. We were barely acquaintances. She was 2 grades above me, and we probably only had about a handful of interactions over the years. Still, we knew each other. So after I moved to Aurea, when I realized she was also here, I jumped on the opportunity to reconnect. I jumped even harder when I realized she had actually been doing well for herself. Since then, we've been pretty good friends, even if we don't hang out all that often. By the way, did I mention the character glossary? I didn't, did I? Whoopsie! Pressing the C key will pull up a handy dandy screen that should help you keep track of who's who. The glossary will update over the course of the game, so feel free to check it every once in a while. Oh, and while we're talking about nice shortcuts, pressing the P key will pull up the options menu. S will pull up save, cool. L is load, and B is history, cool. How convenient. Anyways, don't start acting like I'm some celebrity big shot or something. All things considered, my team's pretty small peanuts. I already forgot what the key to open the character was. I'm sorry, I read it and for some reason it just... it didn't stick. Is it C? Oh yeah, it is. Oh, this is me. Colton, aspiring filmmaker who moved to Aurea from June Fork with big dreams. Unfortunately, it turns out trying to become a director is pretty tricky, and the rent in Aurea is pretty expensive, so Colton's spent most of his time in Aurea working gig jobs to make ends meet. Specifically, he's mostly done a lot of video editing work. He's currently in debt to an organization known as Logis Loans. Having borrowed money in an attempt to gain some stability, the loan actually caused him to spiral, having to grind hard just to keep the interest in check. When he's not running from loan sharks or doing commissioned work, well, he spends most of his time doing that, but in the gaps in between, he likes to watch movies. And that's rough, honestly. Why when I click on it, it's blood? I don't know what to expect from here. We didn't know each other, blah, 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 blah. So these are all the characters I guess we could meet, so there's a lot. For now, at least. Oh? Got big expansion plans? Well, let's see how this year's Desire hierarchy goes. Alright, that's happening pretty soon, isn't it? Extremely soon, as a matter of fact. The Desire hierarchy. The grand spectacle of Aurea. The biggest events with the biggest stars that went completely untelevised. How would you even explain it to someone for the first time? I guess for it to make even a lick of sense, you'd have to back up somewhat. You need to understand the Maslov family. The Maslov family could be traced back to old Aurea. And I mean old Aurea, when they were still developing the city, back when politicians openly worked with mafia groups. The Maslov family was already reasonably wealthy, so the head at the time decided Aurea was a perfect place to set up shop. Fulfillment Funhouse Incorporated actually started as a toy company. They made all the hit toys and board games of the era, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. They were also prolific investors, propping up a variety of production studios and talent agencies. They began spreading out their influence to various sub-companies and special programs. Pretty soon, it became clear that if you wanted to get any sort of success in Aurea, you had to, in some way, kiss the ring of the Maslov family. And that deference just perpetuated the cycle, propping up the Maslovs and Fulfillment Funhouse Incorporated further. At a certain point, the Maslovs set up the Fulfillment Foundation, a non-profit organization meant for philanthropy. And to their credit, this wasn't some token charity gimmick. The Fulfillment Foundation was responsible for a number of extremely impactful changes for good. They established orphanages, scholarship programs, hosted a variety of charity events, financed homeless centers. And then came Abe Maslov. Now, he didn't stop doing all those other things, but he had an idea for something even bigger. Citing his love of the city the city of the talented, he used the influence of the Fulfillment Foundation to create the Desire Hierarchy. This is so much information. The pitch was simple. The Desire Hierarchy collected the best and brightest of every field to compete for the uber elite title of becoming actualized. It was, of all things, a games tournament. I think we're gonna end up here. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Hold on, I just wanted to lower the music a little bit. It's a little loud for me. Okay, that should be okay. Hopefully it's not too low now, but it's a little loud for me. That's right. A tournament of all sorts of mental games, custom built in to push students. I'm sorry, it's like midnight. And I'm so used to Danganronpa that I'm like, okay, yep, everyone's a student. Everyone's an ultimate. Anyway, contestants to their limits. From the hottest actors to the biggest pop stars, the best sports players to the most esteemed artist, scientists, politicians, business owners. If you were the best in your industry, this competition was for you. They were all enticed by one solemn promise. Whoever becomes actualized would get any wish of theirs granted. Within reason, of course, but that went pretty far for the Fulfillment Foundation. The tournament didn't have a price to enter, other than the provision that you might be called upon to help fulfill the winner's wish. It was, however, invite only, a battle for only the most exclusive of how do I pronounce that? Entrance? Of course, lured by both the prestige of such a title and the promise of a wish that they somehow couldn't accomplish themselves, celebrities flocked to the I can't read. Why can't I read? I feel like it's tongue twistering me. Celebrities flocked to the Desire Hierarchy. Maybe that was the intended effect. Because as celebrities fawned over getting invited, the Fulfillment Foundation's status as the city's kingmaker only became more solid. I think my issue is my eyes read faster than my voice. So I end up sometimes words get jumbled because I'm reading, my eyes are going faster than I can keep up. While expanding interest, so too was their expanding scope. Each year, reports came in of the Desire Hierarchy being even bigger and better than ever before. And yet, all the while, with so much production value and so much star power, the tournament was never filmed. The stars involved were eager to gossip about what would occur behind closed doors, but still, it was all hearsay. Personally, I had never paid much attention to the Desire Hierarchy. To me, it was a product of Oria's celebrity culture that I tried to avoid. I was interested in the movie business, not the drama and politics that surrounded it. You know, it's funny. You're claiming not to treat you like a celebrity big shot, but here you are, bragging about being invited to the Desire Hierarchy. I don't know why, but I feel like Desire Hierarchy, for some reason, is really tripping me up. It's like, I don't know why it's such a tongue twister for me right now. I apologize.
Yeah, well, I think it's more because they were impressed with my performance from last year than anything else.
Oh, she went last year.
Get in once, and your odds of future openings skyrocket. And I only got in last year thanks to a lucky break. Who knew personally doing hair and makeup for Anna Maslov would have such benefits? That encounter, it was my personal miracle.
Hey, can you get me in there too? Well, good for you that you're going again. Here's hoping you win. Given everyone there, it's pretty much impossible. It's not about winning, at least for me. It's about making connections and taking a deep payout to bow out at the right point. that right. Yeah, it is. You know, it'd do you a lot of good if you were in the hierarchy. Actually, speaking of, is there any chance you got in? Excuse me? How the hell would that work? What? No, you could have gotten accepted for one of the Rising Star spots. Rising Star spots? You know, it's a charity initiative that started a couple years ago. Every year they hold a raffle for the common folk. Common folk? You common folk, and you peasants. Grant a couple randomly selective applicants invites. Seriously? Goes to show how little I had paid attention to the Desire hierarchy in the past. Why'd they start doing that? As a matter of fact, the Rising Star Initiative is the wish from one of the Actualized from a couple years ago. No way. It was his wish to open up spots to give non-celebrities a chance to win. Oh wow. Yeah. He knew his whole domestic abuse scandal would be getting out pretty soon, so he wanted to try to buy goodwill with the public beforehand. Just when you think someone's a good person and wants to help people, that's only because they want to sweep under the rug all their dirty laundry. Wow. I know. Pretty stupid, right? He should have just used his wish to silence the scandal before it came to light. You'd think someone smart enough to win the hierarchy would have thought of that. Wonder why he didn't. Well, incredibly telling anecdote aside, I don't even know about the Rising Star thing, so obviously I didn't get in. Carolyn sighed.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not surprised you didn't know about the Rising Star Initiative. No Rising Stars have even come close to winning, which makes sense given the nature of the whole competition. So, like, if she knew about this, right, why wouldn't she tell him? She could just shoot him a text, hey, by the way, they're doing this thing, maybe you should, apply. Why wouldn't she? Aren't we like friends, or are we just acquaintances? I mean, I know they weren't close when they were younger, but they're friends now, right? And it was a long shot anyways. The odds of actually getting selected must be super slim. Still, that's a shame. I heard a note of disappointment in Carolyn's voice. Seriously, what was she expecting? Yeah, well, maybe it's good for you. Given how flawlessly I handled that diamond game thing, clearly you wouldn't stand a chance against me. I wouldn't call it flawless. My game was full of flaws. If he's talking about, the last, in like the prologue sequence, it was not flawless at all. I messed up many times. You're telling me if we were in the Desire hierarchy together, we wouldn't team up? Maybe for a time. But eventually, you'd have to get rid of me before the end. And I'd use my superpowers of deduction to sense your betrayal incoming and totally blow you out.
Wow, brilliant idea.
Uh-huh. Whatever you say. Carolyn finished off her coffee. Well, I really am sorry to end this here, but I must get going. Between the hierarchy starting up soon and, actually having a stable job, I'm quite busy, you see. That was a jab. Okay. Sure, whatever. I'll probably be busy for the next week or two, with the hierarchy starting up. But when it's finished, let's have coffee again. She's bragging, isn't she? She doesn't seem... I don't know, like... She seems like a frenemy, kind of... She doesn't seem... I don't know. She's like, well, I have a stable job. Oh, I won't be able to talk to you because I'm going to the hierarchy. Like, I'm better than you. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from her right now. I'll probably have some stories of my own to share. Preferably stories where I don't act like a complete idiot.
I don't think so.
Complete idiot is unfair. With final protests made, Carolyn got up and left me to finish my coffee by myself. I did, reflecting on her advice. I had pushed back against a lot of it, but that was mostly out of instinct. Eh, I could think about those things later. I finished my coffee and started making my way back to my apartment. I decided to walk back. It wasn't far, and it was nice outside this time of year. You had to give Aurea this. It was certainly beautiful. Loud? Certainly. There were about a dozen different noises, all vying to annoy me as I walked. Annoying? I had to sidestep some teens vlogging as I had this very thought. Oh gosh. I've never seen anyone vlogging in like when I'm walking on the street before. That must be so like I mean for me personally, I'd be avoiding the camera at all costs. Like don't I don't want you to see me. Oh gosh, I don't even know. That must be a little awkward. Yeah, a little. Flashy. I looked to my right, a line of empty shops with contrasting and gaudy decorations out in front. Undeniably. And yet, beautiful at the same time. The sky was a bright blue because it never rained. Never? It was warm, but there was always a nice breeze to keep you cool. Despite all the clutter, you were never far from a park or some other section of nature. I guess you got what you paid for. The city was just nice to exist in. At that point, I noticed a billboard for some Jungtown project. It reminded me that, technically, it was just the center of Aurea that was nice. Factually speaking, the city of Aurea encompassed far more than the place most associated it with. The city was built in the middle of a desert. Huh, interesting. An ambitious effort, one that many thought doomed to fail. It hadn't been around as long as most cities. The last person who lived in old Aurea only died a few years ago. And while this was certainly the heart of Aurea, the city extended out to the deserts that surrounded us. There was little out there but roads that connected Aurea's heart to other places that mattered. A few motels, sure, a roadside attraction or two, and maybe a few communes of the Indicator Collective, but it was mostly barren. Recently, there was an attempt to build a commercial Specter out there. Jungtown, they called it. It wasn't long before that project collapsed in on itself, leaving nothing but a ghost town. Honestly, it just went to remind me how amazing it was that this place was built at all. It was an oasis in a dry land. Or perhaps a mirage. Anyways, that's enough musing for one day. I decided to put in some headphones, listen to a podcast, and focus on heading back home. What kind of podcast? Sorry, tangent. My favorite podcasts are true crime podcasts. I had almost made it all the way back before I spotted him. Crap, again. Why was Andy hounding me so fiercely? Does he have blood on his shirt? um, um, yeah, okay, sure. Maybe I was a little late on some payments. Big deal. He didn't need to be a jerk about it. Unfortunately, from my position, I couldn't afford to go the long way around again. In fact, I don't have time to go anywhere. Instead, I had to duck behind a nearby trash can and hope he passed by me. This was so embarrassing. I was crouched over, between a trash can and a wall, hoping that I wouldn't be spotted. Like a child playing hide and seek. Well, it'd be worth it. I just needed Andy to keep walking. Come on, keep walking. I heard his footsteps get closer and closer, and then they stopped right in front of me. Shit, what was he doing? Had he noticed me? Of course he did. I got this answer when all of a sudden the trash can I was hiding behind, was shoved to the wall. I yelled in pain. The squeeze wasn't particularly painful. It was more the suddenness of the jolt.
Ah, Colton. Thought that was you. You really ought to find better hiding spots.
Jesus, Andy. Was that really necessary? Was hiding behind a trash can necessary? As far as I'm concerned, this was an innocent mistake. I didn't see you till it was too late. Now come on, get up. Let's talk like men. You look like a jackass like that. Ashamed and dejected, I got to my feet. Finally, I stood face to face with Andrew Kaz, one of the chief debt collectors from Logist Loans. I was a few inches taller than him, and the man wasn't particularly well built, but he intimidated me all the same. You know, if you really wanted to hide from me, you should have hid in the trash bin. That probably would have fooled me. You really expect me to hide in a trash can? I don't know. I didn't expect you to hide behind a trash bin. Guess you're not desperate enough. And trust me, I'm plenty desperate. Oh, in that case, you got my money? Why am I not surprised? Why the hell did I get myself into debt in the first place? In retrospect, it was such a stupid deal. But living's expensive in Aurea, more expensive than I expected. My starting funds didn't last as long as I expected, and I just needed something to tide me over for a bit. Getting a loan from a bank or something was a big, complicated process I didn't understand. Logis loans were simple. The plan was simple. Buy some time, find my footing, pay the loan back. That's always the idea, isn't it? Instead, these people have been a damn leech in my side for my entire stay in Aurea. I could barely work on staying afloat with them always nibbling for repayments. I hadn't even made that much of a dent in my original debt. So much had gone to their, in retrospect, insane interest rates that at this point I had paid back more than the original loan. I was never good with managing money, and now in my adult life, said lack of interest was coming back to bite me in the ass. Look, what's the deal with you guys always shaking me down like this? You know I can't pay you back. I know I can't pay you back. It's really just a drain on everyone's time. Why not just keep the meter running and wait for me to pay you back on my own time?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, see, it doesn't work like that, Colton. You see, giving out loans is kind of like doing investments. One way or another, too many of our investments have been going bust. We need to make sure we recoup our losses where we can. Make sure you're not planning to skip town or go completely broke. Besides, I like to think of my presence as a good reminder to keep you motivated. The axe dangling behind you to keep you running forward. Really, I'm taking time out of my day to do you a service. Oh, so I should be thanking you? You should. You really should. All right. Thank you, Andy, for always being a pain in my ass. You're welcome. You know, I don't get enough appreciation. It's tough work, spending my days running after lowlifes. No offense, of course. I didn't respond. I didn't have a response.
Colton.
So, you're really no closer to paying off your debt? I don't know, Andy. Are you offering a chance to clear my bills with a high-risk gamble? Paying off debts with a high-risk gamble?
Is this guy serious?
What middle-grade schlock have you been reading to fill your head with these sorts of ideas? Gambling to pay your debt? What a laugh. I'm taking that as a no. Colton, no self-respecting loan agency would let their debtors gamble to pay the bills. You people self-sabotage enough without us having to put our necks on the line. Sounded like Andy hadn't heard of strained loans. Given that he was a debt officer, I'd have thought he was likely to run in similar circles, to have heard something. In that case, those guys must be real underground dealers. Once again, I thanked my lucky stars I was able to get out of there without a hassle. Then no, I'm not able to pay up yet. Yet. That yet's doing a lot of heavy lifting, Colton. Tell me, what are the odds that you'll ever be able to pay us off? I am going to pay you guys back in full. Trust me. Uh-huh. You know, there are options for people like you. Lodgist Loans has plans for people who need to get their debt reduced. Ever give any thought to becoming a group thinker? I've heard rumors that that's pretty much a slave program. Oh, it's not so bad. If anything, it's more like a voluntary prison labor program. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass. In that case, if you're looking to make some extra dough, I could always hook you up. You mean like a personal loan? God, no. I'm saying, you know, I run in circles. I know some money-making opportunities. For those willing to do some unorthodox work.
I can't do that.
Andy, I'm not a criminal.
Whatever you say.
If you say so. Maybe you could get the whole thing wiped by selling something super expensive. Sell your apartment. Sell an organ or two. Bump off your parents. Use that inheritance. You've got a really disturbing mind, you know that? Hey, I'm just trying to offer solutions here to somebody who doesn't have many. Sounds to me like you're not desperate enough right now. And I think you might need a little desperation before it's too late. I'm telling you, I've got a solid system in place. My income has been increasing, but my expenses are staying the same. You'll see. Before too long, you won't have to visit me ever again. Is that right? Well, I admire the optimism. Always fun to see how long it takes before this city squeezes that out of you. God, why is everyone in Aurea so cynical? Yeah, life can suck. That doesn't mean everything sucks. Good things can happen. Miracles can happen.
I'm sure you have this under control.
If you say so. Andy just stood there with a knowing smirk on his face. It was infuriating, knowing how little he thought of my perspective. Knowing he might be right. All right. I'll get out of your hair. I don't want things to turn ugly, especially not with you. You'd probably beat the crap out of me if I tried anything, right? Not really. I wasn't particularly fit, and I certainly wasn't a fighter. That said, I didn't feel the need to correct Andy. But hey, before I go, let me give you a piece of advice. I like you, Colton. I really do. I don't just say that. Most of our clients are total pieces of trash, and I don't dance around that fact. But I see that you've got a good head on you. You've got potential. So listen to what I've got to say. I just nodded, silently. Most problems in life, they're like infections. If you don't deal with them, they'll just keep spreading and spreading, getting bigger until you can't stop them. It's not fun, but it's better to stamp problems out at the stem as early as you can. I don't care what it takes for you, but you need to put an end to these debts, permanently, and soon. Else it'll infect your life forever. Know what I mean? Pay off your debts. Good advice, Andy. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, screw me for trying to be nice. Deal with this crap yourself. And on that sour note, Andy turned around and slunk off. Good riddance. Still, he was right. If I didn't think of some way to handle this soon, I didn't like dwelling on an uncertain future. Better to live in the now. I made my way back to my apartment. First things first, I had to feed Blubby. Blubby. I like Blubby. I want to see Blubby. It was hard to tell if Blubby appreciated their food. Kept them alive. I think they do, because when I've had fish, and you go to feed the fish, and they come to the side of the tank, and they go to the top, and they wiggle their little fish body, I think they appreciate it. It's very cute. I like animals. That I have to do. Looking at Blubby, I felt my heart begin to ache. I couldn't help but think of my last meeting with my parents whenever I looked at him, and they gave Blubby to me. My relationship with my parents was strained. I think that there had always been a distance between us, ever since I was a kid. Oh, they loved me and they did everything they could for me, but as much as they tried, they couldn't relate to me. I was just very different from them. They could tell that, and I could tell that they could tell. That distance, it came to a head when I told them about my plan to move to Aurea. Announcing my decision resulted in a familiar argument filled with familiar phrases. What is wrong with you? Do you ever stop and think? You know I love you, right? Don't just stand there, say something. The lines were so familiar, it was as though they were giving me a familiar performance. My dad would shout, my mom would sit there glaring at me. I feel like I'm giving the wrong impression. It's not like they were abusive or anything. I was just a perpetual screw up. It was never anything intentional. Losing a phone, forgetting to turn in a project, crashing a car. What? My guy. Crashing a car is not exactly on the same wavelength as these two other things. Frankly, I'd be sick of me too. I'm not saying that these shouting matches were the most effective means of getting across their point. They were usually counterproductive. But they didn't know what else to do, and I didn't either. After a while, they realized that yelling at me wasn't really doing anything, and they began to stop. In some ways, it was refreshing to see them in that state once more. That argument, though, it was different. I hadn't messed anything up. I was choosing to mess up my life with this wildly impractical plan. They rightfully had no faith in my ability to make myself into somebody in Aurea. I wish I could say that I was driven by a strong conviction that I would be able to make it. Honestly, I made the decision because it felt like I had no other choice. I know how ridiculous this sounds, considering that absolutely nobody was telling me to do something this stupid. Yet, it was the only path forward that I saw. Once it became clear that I was committed to this decision, they changed their tune. They told me that they believed in me, that they were proud of me. But I knew. They thought I was throwing my life away. And hey, they were right. Still, it hurt. When they were visiting, I did my best to hide how utterly in a hole I was, but they could see right through me. They knew they had been right. Not that they would admit such a thing. The entire trip, they were all smiles, even though I couldn't answer a single question of theirs honestly. Even though Dad was having trouble back at work. Yeah, see? Apparently, even though he was due for a promotion, he had to go and report his boss for some inappropriate comments he had made. When I heard the story, I couldn't believe it. Well, I could. My parents were good people. Of course my dad would do something like that. But it was just so astounding. My father had worked for that promotion for years. I remember him talking about it back when I was in high school. And now he might be getting fired just for doing the right thing. If I were him, I wouldn't be able to hold in my rage. And yet, here he was, playing nice with me, acting like everything was all right. If I had more of a spine, I would have told them to quit the crap and just talk to me like I was an adult. As if I could do something like that. No, the meeting came and went and nothing changed. That is, until a few days ago, when I got a text from Mom. We should call soon. There's something we need to talk about. My mom had a tendency to be cryptic. Still, I knew what they were going to talk about. They might have held their tongue while they were in Aurea, but They were going to talk to me about my situation. They were going to ask me to move back home. What was I going to say to that? What could I say? Nothing. Because saying that things were fine as they were was a lie, and they'd know it. But I couldn't move back home. I just couldn't. It wasn't a choice. I could not. I can't be the person who moves back in with their parents, having gone into massive debt, failing to even touch their dreams. I can't be that person. I can't. But what could I do? If I kept doing what I'd been doing up until now, nothing would change. Things would get worse, and yet my head swirled with dark thoughts. This was exhausting and unproductive. Enough of that. I have things to do. What next? What next? I had some new work I had been putting off. Editing was a truly mind-numbing experience. It was best to just knock off big assignments in single shots, to turn my mind off and just work. So before that, I ignored the sinking feeling as I opened my computer. I was being irrational. I should just check my emails. What was the worst that could be there? Oh, is the desire hierarchy invite in there? It couldn't be worse than whatever I was already expecting. And more importantly, I couldn't just keep not reading them. That's not how functioning adults operated. I needed to just bite the bullet and go through them. Despite saying all this to myself, I still felt resistance as I moved over to the email tab. I just couldn't think of it. I clicked the tab before I even realized what I was doing. All right, time to see what's here. I had to force my eyes to actually focus on the various email threads. Spam, spam, spam. Mostly spam, a few emails about various banking notifications, some work offers. Spam, spam, spam. Some of this was ridiculous. I mean, what the hell is the Rising Star Initiative even supposed to be? Wait, hold on. Just as I was about to delete the last email, I circled back and looked at it closer. Holy crap. Oh my god, holy crap. I had to read it several times to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Holy crap. Dear Colton Hall, it is our understanding that you recently signed up to be entered in the Rising Star Initiative. This is a prestigious initiative that extends the chance to participate in the desire hierarchy to those who would otherwise be completely ineligible. We are pleased to inform you that you have in fact been selected as part of a chosen few who will be allowed to enter. Further details enclosed below. That was about as far as I could get before freaking out even more. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap! This couldn't be happening. There was no way this was a gift from God had just landed on my lap. I physically began to jump for joy, like actually in my apartment. Hopefully my downstairs neighbors weren't around. It was a joy I couldn't contain. I actually started laughing out loud at nothing. An onlooker would think I had gone mad. Maybe I had. Maybe I was hallucinating. That was the only rational explanation for what I was seeing. It felt more likely than actually receiving this gift from heaven. I had won the lottery. No, it was better than that. I had won the golden ticket. It was incredible. It was impossible. It was impossible. I hadn't signed up. Do you think Carolyn signed us up? For a moment, my elation was interrupted by logic slamming me down to the ground. How was this possible? Was it really a scam, or... Suddenly, the puzzle pieces slammed into place. Of course! Instantly, I took out my phone and began to call the person responsible. Come on. Pick up. After a painful couple of seconds, I heard the familiar click of a phone picking up.
Hey, what's up?
Hello? Carolyn? Did you sign me up for the Rising Star Initiative? Huh? Wait, how did... Oh my god, did you get in? Did you sign me up? Did you get in? Of course I got in. Did you sign me up? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my, yes, yes. I am the best friend you will ever have. So you signed me up?
Yes.
Hell yeah, I did. Seriously? Of course. Honestly, it was more of a whim than anything. I was on the page and I thought of how you'd honestly be perfect for the Desire hierarchy. And then I realized that there was no chance in hell you'd have signed up for something like this, given how you are about pop culture and stuff. And so I just decided to sign you up. See what happens. And holy crap, you got in. Holy crap, I got in. This is incredible. Really, your random impulse is just... I don't even have words. I can't even describe it. I can. I saved your ass. You know, you're right. You're totally right. Hold on a minute. I thought you said you weren't in. Well, that's because I didn't know I was until just now. I thought they sent out acceptance emails a few days ago. Yeah, well, I just checked my email today.
Excuse me?
Colton, seriously? Okay, I know, but you're kidding me. Seriously? My god, that is so like you. That's painfully like you. You realize the qualifying stage is tomorrow, right? Right, it is. Wait, it is? Yeah. Sorry, I haven't gone through the email yet. Oh, you were this close to missing it. Yeah, I get it. I should check my email more frequently. Dude, if you missed out on the Desire hierarchy because of your weird thing about checking your messages, I would... Okay, I get it. I've got it. I've got problems. We can deal with that later. For now, could we celebrate my new solution?
Hell yeah! I am so happy for you, dude. This is it! This could be what you were waiting for. This is your own personal miracle.
I laughed and agreed, and the two of us had a party on our phone for a while longer. But when I turned the phone off and ended our conversation, it was that line that stuck with me. My personal miracle. I agreed with this assessment. What else could you call it? How stupid. I hadn't yet realized that miracles didn't exist. Not for people like me. But I'd learn that truth soon enough. Sooner than I'd have hoped. I'm going to wrap up this part here. The story's getting interesting. I like it so far. I'm excited to see like what the Desire hierarchy is all about. And like what kind of things we're gonna do. Like, will it be puzzles? Will it be mystery? I have no idea what to expect. So I have high hopes and I'm excited to see where the story goes and how it's going to unfold. I think it'll be very interesting. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.